Welcome to Nick on Knicks, where your boy N.I.C rants about the most recent Knick game. If you watch this team and you live through this season and you've lived through these playoffs, don't ever worry about having a heart attack or any sort of heart or cardiac issues. Your heart is strong, okay? You're good to go. You should be all right. Because once again, the Knicks have an exciting game that goes down to the wire. They beat the Indiana Pacers 121-117 to take a 1-0 lead in this Eastern Conference semifinal. What a win. What a win. The Knicks find a way to get it done. There was many times where it was very nerve-wracking, where it seemed like we were giving the game away, like the Pacers had too much. But if you know this team and you've watched this team, you know that they are always in the game. Even when they're down by 9 points in the fourth quarter, they still find a way to continue to fight back. They never give up. And more often than not, they pull out the win. Wow, what a game. They take this game one against the Pacers. Pivotal game one, as we know, in the last 7 meetings with the Pacers and the Knicks. The winner of game one has gone on to win the series. If that doesn't tell you how important game ones are, and a lot to break down here, a lot to talk about. First and foremost, it would be remiss if we talked about anyone other than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Marquise Brunson, he got us started right. He was cooking in the first quarter, had 10 of our first 12 points. Started off first possession, getting to the spot that he wants, doing a couple fakes, turnaround, fadeaway, water. And then he brought us home. When things were looking a little bit dicey, in the fourth quarter, he had 21 points. He hit all the big shots. He barely touched the rim. He made every single of his 14 free throw attempts, with at least 6 huge ones down the stretch in the game when we needed every single one. He calmly went to the line and knocked them down. I mean, Jalen Brunson puts on another virtuoso performance. At this point, like, we're running out of accolades, okay? He now is in the company of one great Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the logo Jerry West, and the big O Oscar Robinson, with his 4th straight 40-point game in the playoffs. Let's not forget the game before that. He had 39. Not too far off. Missed a free throw at the end of that game. But yeah, Brunson, I mean, not only that, but he becomes the first player in NBA history with 40 points and 5 assists in 4 straight games. So he's just doing absolutely historic things on a nightly basis in this current playoff run. He started off the first 2 games. He only had 22. He only had 26. Maybe they got him figured out. Everybody said, maybe he's not a playoff performer. I want to know where all those people are now. I want to know who everybody is that's ever doubted this guy, who says that he wasn't this, he wasn't that, he's not 1A, he's too small. Are Becky Hammon and Candace Parker, are they in a witness protection program? I don't hear anything from them. Candace, you just officially retired. You know, typically that's when people they don't step back. You know, they start to get out in the media. They got stuff to say, and you were already supposed to be a talking head, but you've disappeared off the face of the planet. Becky Hammon, I guess nobody is inviting you on, their different shows, or maybe you're just staying out of the spotlight because you realize that nonsense that you said about my man JB was not only just factually incorrect, but it shows how little you know about the game and about how a player of his size, when he has the strength, when he has the skill, and he has the will, can be your 1A and can dominate a playoff series. We've seen him do it in one series. We've seen him do it in game 1 of the second round. I think that conversation is over. I want somebody to go find them wherever they're at and put a microphone in front of them, because I need to know what they got to say about my man, Big Body Brunson now. Shout to Perk, General of Knick Nation. And yeah, man, another just otherworldly performance by this guy. It seemed like down the stretch, he hit every big shot when he needed to. He had the one mistake where he tried to split the D and the ball got slapped away by Haliburton. Refs made a bad call. Refs made a lot of bad calls in this game. Admittedly, some of them worked out in the Knicks' favor. Some of them I think people are making too big of a deal over, but we'll break that down here in a little bit. But at that point, Brunson made that mistake. And, that was the thing that he did going from game 5 to game 6, was making sure that, especially in end of game situations, he trusts his guys and moves the ball to the proper man. As Tibbs always says, trust the pass. And the next play, he waited until the defense committed. He kicked it to Donte DiVincenzo, and Donte DiVincenzo rattled down a 3. That gave us a 3-point lead. At that point, it was a tie game. Huge shot by DiVincenzo. And after that, the Knicks never looked back. The Knicks just hit their free throws. They did what they were supposed to do. They did a decent job of taking care of the ball. They did have one time where they gave it away there. They had another time where the refs, again, made a terrible call. It went off of Naismith's foot, or not Naismith. It went off somebody's foot, and then they got the ball back, and then we had to challenge that to get the ball back and make that call correct. Then the other really controversial call was the moving screen by Miles Turner. That one was absolutely a moving screen, okay, by the letter of the law. Now, if I'm a Knicks fan, am I annoyed about that call being made at that juncture of the game? Yes, but when you really go back and look at it, once DiVincenzo sells it the way he does, he forces the ref. The ref has to call something there. It's not just a no call. And by the letter of the law, it was absolutely a moving screen. Miles Turner, you're lazy. You're not paying attention to detail right there. And even if I was disappointed and very upset at the refs for the call and just for how it was made, when it was made, if I had been watching that and say I was on the flip side, I can guarantee I would be screaming at Mitch or Hartenstein or whoever it was. You cannot, out in space like that in this juncture of the game, set a sloppy screen and force the ref to have to make a call, because this guy does a good job of selling it. And DiVincenzo, a few minutes earlier, got called for an illegal screen on offense. He was very demonstrative, very upset with the refs, which he typically does not do. And so I'm sure that led to them feeling like they got to keep it honest and give him that call that same way if, the opposite occurs. So I thought DiVincenzo did exactly what you're supposed to do right there, which is force the refs to make a call and force them to call it either way. And by the letter of the law, no matter how much you slow that down and you look at it, he absolutely was moving right there. They reviewed it, they looked at it, and confirmed that it was a proper call. Knicks basketball. Now, the kickball was a bad call. He didn't kick it. He hit it with his hand. They should have got the ball right there. Pacers should have retained possession right there. And when a game is this close, obviously every possession matters so much. So that was a tough one for Pacers fans. Hey, it is what it is. Knicks fans got a game taken away from them earlier this playoffs, and Maxey traveled and it wasn't called. But, in that game, I was more upset with the Knicks late game execution than I was with any calls that were made, because we left a lot of meat on the bone. And if we would have done things the way we were supposed to, we wouldn't even have been in that situation. And I think down the stretch in this game, the Knicks just consistently made the plays. We made our free throws. We got huge buckets down the stretch. And you saw a pace of play that the Pacers have, and at that certain points they were deploying in this game, and they were doing it with much success. As I said before this series started, at the end of playoff games, you're not going to be having these pretty plays where, guys are running pick and rolls and making a swing, and it's leading to a layup. Somebody's going to have to hit a big jump shot. Somebody's going to have to ISO and get their own shot and hit a big jump shot. And our best player is one of the best in the league. I've ever seen it doing that. And it's coming to the point where it's like, is he one of the best ever at when he needs to, getting some space, getting off a shot and knocking it down? It doesn't matter what quarter it is, but it seems like when it's the fourth quarter, he gets even better at it. Jalen Brunson, man, this guy, once again, just an absolute monster monster night. I mean, what? Come on, man. I don't. 43 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, only 2 turnovers. No, I'm sorry. He had 4 turnovers. DiVincenzo's right next to him. He had the 2 turnovers. That was one thing, especially, there was a point where DiVincenzo had 2 back-to-back turnovers in the third quarter that killed us. Brunson, at the end of the game, wasn't being as sure with the ball as I would like. And something I've been screaming about the Knicks all season, and it got highlighted in the last game of the season against Chicago. That game was closer than it needed to be because of this. And we had issues with this in Philadelphia, and then we had issues again tonight. We have to get more creative when it comes to inbounding the ball. We can't just have our inbound play being, all right, some action, and then Jalen, you take your guy and move and get open. We got to do something where we're stacking up, or we're setting a screen for him. Something. Come on, man. Tibbs, I know you have forgotten more about basketball than I know. I get it. But I've also run inbound plays for 5-year-olds that have more ingenuity and creativity than the ones that we're running right now, and it's a consistent problem for us. Even with the DiVincenzos and the Brunsons of the world, who are typically pretty sure-handed, who are smart ball players who make good decisions. Throw Josh Hart in there as well. When it comes to the inbound, we've had way too many times where we either struggle to get it in, or we get it into a guy who is in not a so good position, and then it ends up being a turnover. We have to tighten that up. It has to get better, plain and simple. Like, there's no way that we're going to have a chance against, especially, if we're able to get to the next round. But this round, we need to be able to tighten up and be able to inbound the ball cleanly. It doesn't see, no other team seems to have these problems inbounding the ball on us. Jalen Brunson, listen, they're going to grab him. They're going to grab him all the time when it comes to him trying to inbound the ball. We saw Philly do it. We saw them do it tonight, the Pacers, and that's not going to change. So we have to be the ones that make the adjustment and also start grabbing them a little bit more. If that's what they're going to do, then let's make them call it both ways. There was a play earlier where I thought that who went up for the shot? Somebody got fouled, and I was like, that's a foul, but that's fine. If they're gonna, make that, if they're not gonna make that call, then just make sure it goes both ways. Because I think that if the game is allowed to be more physical, that totally plays into our hands. I think you saw something at the beginning of this game that you see often, which is a team makes an emphasis, and every team in the NBA rebounding, it strictly comes down to effort and technique. Every team can be good at rebounding, okay? Some teams have a team mentality that makes them excel when it comes to the glass, and that usually obviously starts with the coach. And some teams have just certain guys who they specialize in that, and it's something that they focus on, when a lot of other guys in the league don't think about it unless their coach makes them. The Knicks happen to be the combination of both. We have both of those things. Tibbs emphasizes it. We have guys like Josh Hart. We have guys like Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, sprinkling some OG in there, some Precious, and you put all those things together, and you get the best offensive rebounding team in the league. And everybody knows it. So Philly, in a lot of those games, in Indiana, in this game, they come in the beginning of the game and they're focused on it. They're focused on the fact that we have to keep these guys off the glass, and they do a pretty good job at it. Why? Because they're teams in the NBA, playoff teams in the NBA at that. When they're really focused on it, they're going to do a better job at it. But the same thing happens over and over again so far in these playoffs is, as the game goes on, they get a little bit lax. We continue to crash the boards as we always do. And now all of a sudden, few more offensive rebounds here, there, and then in the fourth quarter, there's some sequences where it just absolutely changes the game. Our ability to get to the glass, secure the offensive rebound, get another possession, and quite often it ends up turning into another three. I know Josh Hart had an offensive rebound that turned into an OG three in a key moment at one point, and that's what we do. Why? Because that's who we are. These other teams are not built like that, so they may put the emphasis on it, and they may focus on it at different times in the game, but throughout the game, our prowess on the glass is going to show. And we're going to get big offensive rebounds. It's how we're built. It's what we do. It's how our guys play. It's in our DNA. The gritty committee, Nova Knicks, we are going to hit the glass. And it continues to be one of the hugest strengths for this team, as it has been all season, and especially so far in this playoff run. Got to give a shout to Ragu. I thought Ragu had a tough start. He had some good defensive plays. He had the block from behind that led to a fast break bucket. He ended up having another block in the game as well, though that I don't know if that was so close to the beginning of the game. What I saw from him was two things. One thing I've been screaming for: if guys are going to get all up in your face 2-3 feet behind the three-point line as a guard in the NBA, especially somebody who's like 6'3" or under, you have to be able to dribble around them. You have to be able to. You have to be able to get some dribble penetration, get all the way and finish, or be able to get into the paint, make that short jump shot, or have some help come to you and dish it off for an easy dunk by, say, a Hartenstein or a Mitch, or maybe even a Precious in that situation. But he has to do that, and there was too many times where I saw somebody get up in his chest like that, and without even putting on the floor, he would try to move the ball and make a pass, whereas in this game, he was trying to beat his man off the dribble and get all the way to the rim. He made a layup. He missed a couple layups. Then he made a layup. But overall, he had a very, very good game. And in the second half, he started raining them down from downtown. It was extremely important. We need to make threes. We're not going to beat this team if, we have games where we're 7 for 28 from three. The Knicks overall end up 11 from 23, 47.8% from behind the arc. They shot 53% from the field, and overall they scored 121 points. We will win 9 times out of 10 when we have those offensive numbers. Okay, 9 times out of 10. Today, the thing that we didn't do as well was play defense, and it wasn't as much of an intensity issue for me. It was more so a schematic issue. So at one point we were, everybody talks about Miles Turner. He had 7 attempts per game last series. He shot over 40%. We have got to find a way to be able to make sure that he doesn't kill us from behind the arc. Well, early on in the game, it seems like nobody knew that but Miles Turner, because he was getting a ton of open looks from behind the arc. Luckily, he wasn't just absolutely burying all of them, though he did end up making a couple threes. And out of your center position, a couple threes is definitely plus for most teams, but not for Miles Turner. He actually only ended up shooting 2 for 6, but it did seem like at one point he was just over and over again getting a switch where Brunson was guarding him in the paint, and he was grabbing the ball off the catch, going straight up and laying up the ball as if his little brother was playing against him in the backyard. And it seemed schematically like that was just way too easy for them to do over and over again. And it seemed like something that we clearly have to make an adjustment on as far as how we're guarding the pick and roll. Everything they were getting was off the pick and roll. Because they were focusing so much on the glass, they weren't leaking out as much. They weren't getting as many fast break points. We were doing a good job of getting back for the most part. We didn't specifically against Obi Toppin, and it's super frustrating because it's like, guys, we played with this guy for a few years. We know the only way that he's going to score is if he leaks out on a fast break, or he gets kicked the ball to him and he's wide open. And he did, I give him his credit. He did knock down 2 of his 3 from behind the arc today. He was 5 of 7 overall. Got 0 burn in the fourth quarter, though. 0. So, clearly your boy Rick Carlisle does not trust him to be one of his 5 best guys on the floor in the fourth quarter. But I thought overall Obi did play good. He did get the through the legs dunk, which I didn't even know that he missed that during the last series in the closeout game, which doing that in the playoffs is wild. And I know he missed that the last time that the Pacers played the Knicks, and that was in the Garden. He tried to do that, his signature move, which he was 100% on that when he was a Knick. He did it at least 3 or 4 times, and he made it every time. And I was like, all right, Obi, you're good until you miss that one. I'm going to be very annoyed. But, he was able to convert it. He had 12 points overall. He was +4. He had 6 rebounds, which, for Obi is pretty good. And, I thought that he played pretty well. He gave them pretty good minutes. He had a block as well. And I thought that really one of the bigger mistakes that Rick Carlisle made in this game was Tyrese Haliburton. I know he's supposed to be your guy. I know he's supposed to be your all-star, your point guard. He was -12 on the day. He had a total of 6 points on 4 of 10. No, I'm sorry. On 2 of 6. And he made 2 of his 5 threes. He had 8 assists. He had 4 steals, 3 turnovers, 2 rebounds. This is your all-NBA player. This is the guy that everybody at the beginning of the season was saying is better than Jalen Brunson. This is the guy that made the all-star team in front of Jalen. And this is also the guy who made the USA team in front of Jalen. I'm sorry, man, but if you're a top-tier guy, you cannot have more turnovers than you have field goals. You cannot shoot only 6 times. But this is the thing about Haliburton and his game. It's not built for the half court. It's not built for Knicks defense. There was times where he would get the ball and, he would get like a Hartenstein on the switch. And you could tell he's used to having that guy kind of drop off of him and being able to, hit that slow release set shot that he's got, or have that guy get so close that, he gets up on him or he gets him up in the air and he gets around him. And Hartenstein was just sticking right with him. Hartenstein was sticking right with him and played some great defense on switches against Haliburton. And we were able to pretty much keep him under wraps for the entire game. He hit that 3 at the end of the first half. Hartenstein follows that up with a 3/4 court shot, which, Hartenstein, God bless you, man. You are that embodies you, because a lot of guys don't want to get that shot off. They don't want it to hurt their percentage. You just see so often when that shot doesn't actually get off, and he cashes it, and that gives us a little bit of momentum. We go down into the half, down by 6 instead of down by 9. I thought that was important, both for momentum's sake, and we won by 4. So those 3 points were extremely important for us. Great job, great heave by Hartenstein, and yeah. Haliburton has 36 minutes. Like I said, only 6 points. And I'm sorry. I know that he's your guy. You got to go to him. But TJ McConnell was so much more effective. TJ McConnell had 18 points tonight. He was killing us. Straight like mid-range game floaters. He was a +9 overall, 3 steals as well. He was putting good pressure on Brunson. Hey, man. When they brought Haliburton back in and took McConnell out, I was relieved. I was like, get this guy off the floor, get him away from me. And Haliburton, I'll take my chances with him. And down the stretch, we were able to just continue to make one more play. Brunson, as we've already talked about, just making every big shot down the stretch. And then OG Anunoby with some of the most clutch defense. And what a clutch, he had a little stretch where he had a steal off Haliburton. Haliburton's dribbling. He's in the corner, and Siakam just reaches over with those long arms. Yeah, give me that. And then he defends Siakam well, forces him into a miss. And then he grabs a loose ball, runs down the court, and gets the dunk. And it was just, this is exactly why we go out and we get OG Anunoby. His ability to space the floor on offense, his ability to finish at the rim, and his otherworldly defensive IQ. The guy is a savant when it comes to on-ball defense, when it comes to help defense and understanding concepts and understanding where to be, when to be there, understanding how to stay vertical, when to strip them down low, when to meet them at the rim. I said I said this in one of the other post games here recently, where there was a play I saw where he reached out and swiped at the ball on the guy going up, missed it, and then blocked the guy at the top of the apex. That is something that is so remarkable and so rare to see, especially when you're playing against NBA talent. I mean, the guy, it's just amazing what he can do on defense and how he consistently affects the game. What a just an absolute closeout stretch for him down towards the end. You know, you look at Siakam, and at one point it felt like Siakam was getting down into the paint and, you know, kind of too big for OG, and he was, you know, getting some buckets off. He was doing his thing, and you're like, damn. And Siakam did have a big layup late where, you know, OG was draped all over him, but he was able to finish. But then when you go and you look at Siakam's stats, 19 points on 8 of 16, shot 50%, 1 of 3 from behind the arc. In addition to the 19 points, he had 1 steal, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. I'll take that all day, every day. You give me those Siakam numbers, and especially if I can get those same numbers that Haliburton had tonight, but specifically those Siakam numbers, if I can hold him to 19 points on 8 of 16, yeah. That works. So Pascal Siakam, he's going to run the floor. When he gets it, he's going to get up ahead. They're going to get him the ball in that little post area. If he catches it, you know, foul line and below, and you're guarding him one-on-one, good luck. Ain't too many players in the league going to prevail over him in that situation more often than not. But I'll tell you, OG did a damn good job tonight. He did a damn good job tonight. This guy, Aaron Naismith, he's good, man. He's kind of a problem. He's very athletic, and, you know, especially, you know, when it comes to him getting the ball with any sort of head of steam, and that dunk on Mitch. Jeez. I mean, it's like that dude's arms like never stopped. Like he was like, you know, like Michael Jordan in the OG Space Jam. Like he had the Stretch Armstrong joints, man. You know, that was a crazy dunk. And, you know, obviously Mitch is going to challenge people. And when you challenge people, you are going to get dunked on. No shame there. Hey, God bless you. You made the better play. But I thought that dunk was just phenomenal. I mean, I was like, whoa. And McConnell said before the series that the X factor was Deuce McBride needs to outplay McConnell. Well, tonight that did not happen at all in the slightest. McConnell was killing us, absolutely killing us. He, you know, getting to his spots. He, you know, was making, you know, a couple decent passes here and there, but mostly it was just about him getting in, shooting baby jumpers, getting all the way to the rim and laying us up. It has to be so frustrating to watch him do that, you know, as an opposing player. And he also was doing a pretty good job playing good defense on Brunson. And he seemed to peter out a little bit. They were talking about the fact that he, you know, averages about 18 minutes a game and played, you know, over 22 tonight. But I thought he was obviously the better player than Haliburton. I don't even think that's a question. And I thought that they made a mistake by not having McConnell be on the floor in some of those last minutes. Even if it's not for Haliburton and you just put Haliburton on the bench, the guy is arguably your best player tonight. So I think that taking him off the court right there didn't make a whole lot of sense. One thing I love about Tibbs is Tibbs typically will ride a hot hand. That's why you see some games where Deuce plays a ton of minutes and, you know, Ragu can't get back into the fourth, or you see some games where, you know, Ragu is getting it going and Deuce's numbers, his minutes are down around the, you know, 10, 11 minute mark. And, you know, tonight, Deuce, you got to be better, my guy. 10 and a half minutes, team worst, minus 13, 0 points on 0 of 2. You know, he had a foul, he had an assist, no steals even, Deuce. And McConnell was doing it, man. McConnell was giving him that work. And I have faith in Deuce that he will figure it out. I have faith in Deuce that he'll bounce back, because I've seen him do that, you know, throughout the season and even in the first round. He had some, you know, he was kind of up and down in his performance. And as a bench player, I'm not expecting you to just ball every single game, but I need more than that, Deuce. I need more than that, my guy. He, you know, being a little bit lax with the ball, being a little bit just not assertive enough. I need Deuce to be a whole lot more assertive. And when it comes to this guy, McConnell, when he shoots a corner three, it looks okay. When he has to shoot a three, and it's anywhere out there on the arc, he has a hard time reaching the basket. You can tell he's putting his entire body and max effort into trying just to get the ball to the rim. So when he has the ball and it is behind the 3-point line and it's, up around the top of the key or over on the arc before you get to those like baseline threes, you got to give him some space. Make this cat dribble up and walk into and hit one of those threes, okay? Because he looked like a little kid trying to shoot that in the game at one point from the top of the key. So you have to absolutely positively back off of him a little bit and don't let this guy get his shoulder in front of you, because he's a master at that. He's like, a low budget Brunson when it comes to being able to use his body and turn that into points in the paint, whether it be via short jump shot or getting all the way to the rim. The challenges and the situation at the end of the game, I mean, I'd be a little frustrated if I was an Indiana fan, specifically about the kickball call. And I just think what needs to happen is everybody needs more challenges. Everybody. Give the coaches 3 challenges each, no matter what. I don't care, especially in the playoffs. I don't care how much it slows down the game as long as we get the right call. And I'm saying this as the team that benefited from the fact that you can't challenge a kickball also. Yeah, that has to be challengeable. How is that not challengeable? It's crazy, right? Yeah, that's a shit rule, but that's the rule. And I'm not shedding no tears for anybody when it comes to injuries or when it comes to referees, because the Knicks have gotten the short end of the stick when it comes to those 2 topics all season long. Okay. I thought that, there were certain things that we did throughout this game that are super encouraging. I mean, Josh Hart with another masterclass, 24 points, 13 rebounds. I thought that some of the offensive rebounds he got in the fourth quarter, and even I think there was a couple in the third, but specifically in the fourth quarter, where it was just clear that these guys were just starting to wilt under the pressure of us continuing to keep on coming. They got all ginned up and they got all excited to be like, hey, we got this, we can do it. We gotta make sure that we keep them off the glass. And, they took it, very, very personally. But Josh Hart, excuse me, just continued to come and come and come. Pause. And at the end of the day, he broke their will. He broke their spirit. And I thought that Knickerbocker Banter, he did a great job with this tweet that he put up shortly after the game. So I saved it because it really, really encapsulates, what I'm trying to say. The score is 104-99. Josh Hart gets fouled and converts the layup. He then misses the foul shot and gets his own rebound to score the ball. 104-103, 5:55 left. Monster sequence from a guy that played incredible ball over the first 7 games of this postseason. That play was just who he is. Knickerbocker Banter, my guy, couldn't have said it better. I thought that was huge. I thought when Brunson went on a little 5-0 run by himself at the 4-minute mark when we were down by 5, he hits a 3, and then I think he gets fouled and hits 2 free throws, or maybe it's a 2-point bucket. I just remember that we were down 5. He went on a 5-0 run by himself, and all of a sudden it was a tie game again. And then after that was when we started to get good possessions, get a few stops here and there, and pull out the game. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you got to do. The Knicks had their best scoring second half or half ever in all of playoff history, with 72 points in the second half. And when it comes down to it, man, if we score and play offense like this, we will win. Our defense, we need to tighten up when it comes to how we play pick and rolls. We need to make sure that we're contesting all 3-point shooters, and we need to make sure that we are not allowing them to just get whatever switch that they want and rotate after the pick and roll, and that across the court pass is made. We have to be able to rotate to be able to challenge that shooter. And I'm very, very confident that Tibbs will get all of these things sorted out between games 1 and 2. I thought that we outwill them. We outlasted them tonight. I think that's what we've done to most teams that we play all season. And I think that we will continue to, because we have our fearless leader, Jalen Brunson. We have Mr. Hustle, Josh Hart. We have Dante's Inferno, bombs away. I thought it was so important that we got big scoring from him. Started off slow, ended up with 25 points, 10 of 17, 5 of 9 from behind the arc. Efficient numbers. Like I said earlier, 2 big blocks, and we got another dub. OG, great defense down the stretch. He gave us 13 points, not a ton, but we'll take it. Isaiah Hartenstein with the floater, the touch, even when it clips the rim, bounces around, it drops. And once again, the absolute masterclass by your boy, Jalen Marquise Brunson. 43 more points, his 4th straight 40-point game, tying the record to now be, he didn't tie the record. Jerry West got the record. Jerry West got the record. He's got the record at 6 games, but he's now the 4th player to have 40 points in 4 straight games, along with Michael Jordan, Jerry West, and also Oscar Robinson. This guy, he's simply amazing. We're so lucky that he's on our side, that he's our guy, that he's a Knick, and that, you know, to him, it's New York or nowhere, as he clearly has emblazoned across his shirt. Marbury and Starks were both lit. They were going wild. I was going wild. Knicks win. What a dub. See you after game 2.